My loves, happy Tuesday. I hope that you guys are all doing well. Today is Taco Tuesday, and for today's topic, I'm going to be speaking on spiritual hygiene. I'm really going to get into all things energy, how to protect your energy, how to cleanse your energy, how to know when someone's draining your energy, and I'm also going to be giving some signs on spiritual warfare. There are a lot of unseen forces that come against us daily, especially if you are on a path of just becoming a better version of yourself or just living in a more morally conscious way. It's so important to make sure that you're not lacking when it comes to your spiritual aspects, because there are unseen forces that come against us every single day. So it's important to have some form of spiritual routine and hygiene. So I'm going to be giving some tips on how to really protect your energy and how to notice when you are experiencing these spiritual attacks. So if you're interested, let's get into it. So I wasn't really sure which one of these topics to do, so I decided to just combine it all in one video because these topics really go hand in hand. And I wanted to just start by giving a little story right quick, because I recently just was experiencing a bit of spiritual warfare, and this is completely normal in this world that we live in. I know a lot of people have different beliefs and different things like that, so I really try to base my content in a way that everybody can relate, everybody can watch and understand, because I do not judge at all depending on what your beliefs are, even if that is nothing, but you know, to each his own. So for me, for example, I noticed that whenever I'm on a really good path, or I've broken from certain cycles and I'm just doing good, and you know, I'm thinking that all's good, that's when it hits, and that's when it really happens. Because when you are trying to live better, do better for yourself, that's when you really start to experience those attacks, which is why I wanted to make this video, because it's so easy to get discouraged when you're experiencing these attacks, because of the fact that you may be on a good track. You may have been doing good for a month or months, honestly, because it happens at any time. And it's discouraging when you start to feel like, man, like, why do I feel like I want to get into these habits again? Why do I feel like I want to start doing this again? Or even worse, sorry, that's my speaker that's just turned off. Or even worse, you may be good. You may not even feel like you want to get into these things, but then for some reason, certain people start coming into your life that are trying to deter you from your path or trying to influence you to do certain things. And that's really just, for those that believe, that's really just the devil trying to get into your head. Like I said, depending on whatever your beliefs are, just think of it as just negative forces or whatever the case. But it literally always happens, and it never fails, and it's never going to fail. In this world, there's good and bad, and there's light and dark. So we can't really live in a world where everything is just constantly positive, where everything is just always going to be up. So even if you do feel like you've overcame all the negative in your life and you've gotten to a point where you're happy and where you're good, there's still going to be things to happen. You know, that's just life. It's just about how you make it through these situations and how you get through them. That's really going to determine how you come out of it. So when it comes to protecting your energy, this should be on the top of the list of everybody's just list of habits and list of routines, because it's the most important. Our energy is very sacred, it's very powerful, and we have to really be conscious about how we are sharing our energy and what we are putting our energy into, and just how we are using our energy, who we have in our energy is just really important. So for me, when it comes to protecting my energy, I make sure that I stay away from certain things or certain people that make me feel out of balance, that make me feel anxious or just off. Like, you get a certain feeling when you're around certain people. So that really goes into protecting your energy, and as well as how to know when someone's draining your energy. A couple signs to know how somebody is draining your energy is if you're around them and you constantly feel tired or you're yawning a lot. That person is most likely draining your energy. They're probably either an energy vampire, or they just have not the best intentions for you. So be aware of when you start to feel really drained around somebody. 9 times out of 10, you probably should not be around that person, because your energy is getting drained. Now, another thing to look out for too is if you're around somebody and they tend to complain a lot or just speak negatively a lot, that will really drain all your energy. That will deplete you. So be very careful about being around people that do that. Now, there's nothing wrong with being around somebody and they're venting or they're just expressing themselves and it may be something negative, because like I said, like, we're not just going to be positive all the time. That's so unrealistic. But if you're just around people that literally all they do is talk about negativity, negative things, or they're just always negative. Like, that is a very low vibrational emotion and feeling, and like I said, we all have that, but it's such thing as a balance. So if you feel that somebody is always on that lower spectrum and never really at least in the middle or trying to be up higher, and they're constantly dumping all of their trauma onto you or dumping all of their negative emotions onto you without any regards to how you feel, they lack empathy and they don't really care necessarily, that's when you should be a little wary, and you should kind of stay away from those types of people and that type of energy, because that's going to really drain and deplete you of your energy. Another good way to protect your energy and know when somebody is draining your energy is if they constantly need you and your attention. So there's nothing wrong with somebody needing you, but it's a difference when that person, you know that they're in a much lower and darker energy. Because say you're the type of person to have a great spiritual hygiene, say that you get out in nature, you pray, you meditate, you do yoga, you eat well, you have a balanced mindset. When you start vibrating on this higher level and this higher vibration, your light is going to attract a lot of really dark energy, entities, a lot of people that operate in a lower vibration. So this is why it's so important to make sure that you have a great spiritual hygiene, because if you don't, you are going to run into a lot of people like this that are going to drain your energy and use you for your energy because they see that light that emanates from you. It's really important to know your limits. For me, I'm a bit more empathic and sensitive. So when I go out or I'm just around people for a certain amount of time, my energy tends to drain very quickly. I have a very low social meter. So I have to really be careful with how often I go out and how often I'm around people, because I take on their energy so easily. I can be around somebody for a day, and then after that day, I will be drained. And if you're like that as well, where you notice that you can be out or be around people all day, and then at the end of the day, you're like really drained, it's probably because you're very sensitive to energy, and you know, you take on others' energy very easily. So this is why it's important to know your limits. If you do notice that you are like that as well, make sure that you are having a healthy balance, that you are taking time to spend with whoever it is that you are being around, but you're also taking that time to be to yourself and replenish your energy. Now, so for me, the ways that I replenish my energy and that I cleanse my energy, I like to get out into nature. Nature is the best way to cleanse your energy, especially if you are surrounded by trees. So I like to go to the parks. I like to even just go outside, sit in the grass, put my feet in the grass, ground myself again. Getting out in nature really will help. I also like to go to the beach. Getting in that water, very cleansing. I like to walk in the sand. Just being in nature in general, any form, is a really great way to cleanse your energy. For me as well, I do like to meditate. So I'll meditate for about, the most that I usually do, or I should say the least that I usually do, is about 10 minutes. That really helps me to recenter and cleanse my energy as well. Another thing that I like to do as well to kind of cleanse the energy in my space is I like to light some incense. Candles, I like lighting candles too, but candles have a lot more toxic ingredients. Incense are natural and it's made from herbs, so it's really good for cleansing your energy. Okay, so now we're going to get into the signs of spiritual warfare and spiritual attack. So the main number one sign that you are experiencing spiritual warfare or spiritual attack is if you start feeling depressed, drained, and anxious and tired out of nowhere. Now, if you experience something to cause those emotions and feelings, then okay, that's justified. That is not, you know, most likely not a spiritual attack. But this is when it happens when you're perfectly fine. So like how I was saying earlier, when you can be on a good track, everything is going good, and just out of nowhere you start feeling off and you're like, why am I feeling depressed? Why am I feeling anxious? Why am I feeling like I have super low energy? That is a major sign. Now for me personally, that's the way that I always know that I'm experiencing spiritual warfare and spiritual attacks, because I'll be completely fine. I'll be on top of my routines. I'm meditating, I'm doing my yoga, I'm praying, and all of a sudden I start feeling depressed. I start feeling like I want to give up. I start feeling anxious. I start getting all these negative thoughts. That is not you. That is spiritual attack. And I literally recently just went through this, which is why I decided to detox from social media. Whenever you experience that, take a step back and reground yourself. And make sure that you are doing your spiritual routines 10 times harder when that happens, because 9 times out of 10, that's just the devil trying to get in your ear. That's that darker energy, that negative energy that is being put onto you. And another thing that I do want to throw in there as I'm talking about this, certain people that may be feel a negative type of way towards you, can be sending evil eye to you, can be just sending negative intentions your way, and that can also cause spiritual warfare and spiritual attacks. So you have to be aware of that as well, because we all go through it. You know, certain people, they just may not like you, and they may be sending negative energy your way, wishing bad on you, speaking bad about you. Yeah, I'm gonna be making more videos about all this stuff because there's other signs for that type of stuff as well. But yeah, so when you experience this and you start feeling all these negative emotions and feelings out of nowhere, make sure that you ground yourself and you start praying. If you pray, make sure that you get out into nature. Make sure that you just do everything that you can to keep yourself up, because it's not you. And stay strong when this happens, because it can be very discouraging, especially if you've been on such a good track and those type of emotions come in. It's really hard, and it can really make you feel like, damn, like, why am I even trying? But yeah, so stay really encouraged during these times. Make sure that you are keeping that armor of God on you, because it really can get really hard and really dark really quick. Now, another form is when you start feeling like you want to go back to an old lifestyle, and you're starting to want that, especially if you've already transitioned out of that lifestyle. Please be so careful, because this is really when you get tested the most. And if you fail and you end up going back to that lifestyle, you're not going to have what you're really desiring, because you're not choosing to move on to the new. Now, if you are experiencing these negative emotions and then you're starting to feel like, man, like, I want to do this again and I want to do that again, find something in replace of that you can do that's a bit more healthy. So like for me, for example, I used to love to drink alcohol. I still love to have a drink, but definitely not on the same level that I did before. So for me, if I'm going through certain things, I will be tempted to have a drink, or I'll be, I don't know, just tempted to do certain things that I used to do that I already broke free from. Now, what I do instead is I'll make a smoothie. I love smoothies. I just started juicing. I love juices. And that is a healthy way, but it's also still a really nice way to basically make myself feel better, but give myself that energy that I need, that energy boost. Because drinking alcohol is not going to do anything. 9 times out of 10, whatever it was in your old lifestyle that you had issues with, or that you were addicted to, if you've ever had addictions, or if you've ever had just really negative habits, whether it was sex, whether it was drugs, depending on, you know, everybody's story is different, but just try not to fall back into that old lifestyle when you feel these temptations arise, because that is going to put you 10 times backwards if you do fall into it. And I know during this time it can be really hard if you are, you know, struggling with these temptations coming back up, and you're feeling like, man, like, you know, this is so hard. It's like I do all of this and I'm doing so good, and then it's just like always something to happen. Try not to fall into that mindset, because that's exactly what the devil wants. And like I said, for anybody that doesn't believe in that, that's just exactly what happens. So those are the main things and tips that I really wanted to get into. Just please stay encouraged along your path, because it's going to get a lot easier later on once you really grow that strength and you get stronger and you really have, you know, took some time to really overcome these past habits and lifestyles. In the beginning, it's going to be a little hard. You will be tempted into falling back into certain things, especially when you do feel that you're going through certain trials and tribulations. But over time, you're going to get so strong to the point where these little tests and these things are going to come up and try to tempt you, and you're not even going to be fazed, because you've grown so strong in who you are and that new person that you're becoming. So another thing that I do want to mention is that the more that you practice these spiritual hygienes and whatever it is for you, because your spiritual routine is going to look different, but the better that you'll get at reading energy. For me, when I really cleanse my energy and I take the time to be to myself and isolate and I meditate and I really connect with source and with my higher self, it's a lot easier for me to read people and to read energy. So I automatically know people's intentions, what they're feeling, how they feel about me, and just be able to read if they have bad or off energy. And it's a lot easier for you to discern who should be around you and who should not be around you, which is another reason why it's so important to up your spiritual hygiene and your routine, because if not, it can be very hard to read certain people's intentions and their energy. I just wanted to throw that in there as well. But I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it very useful. If you did, please share it with somebody that you feel may benefit from this video, and subscribe if you are not already. And I will see you guys in my next video. Peace out. Love you guys, and I wish you the best.
Look at the streets, you are not my mate. If you become a chef, not be head of state. But my people then go say, I know one buy, I know one die.